Now, because it was a real time in my life that I could look back and take a hard look at what I'd been through and reconcile my own sort of psyche and contradictions, since I've sort of had my second chance that most people don't get, that every day from that day forward has been a heavy weight for me to carry, you know, and so I wanted it out on my terms, and I wanted it out in context of a pretty powerful life lived. I've gone through things that many people struggle with.
The crystal meth. We have to talk about it. You said you did this crystal meth with an employee of yours named Slim. So you tell the ATP when you test positive, they want to know what's going on. And you write a letter, which you know to be false, and you say, Slim spiked my drink. Did you think you'd get away with that?
What I said is Slim used to spike his drinks, and
you accidentally drank his.
And I took a, yes. I mean, I've literally found myself not knowing what to do. I was horribly ashamed, scared to death, had no one to turn, no one to confide in. Nobody knew about this in my life. And the process was to write a letter, and I wrote a letter, and I lied.
Did you have any idea how dangerous meth was? I mean, did you know pretty much what it was?
No. Didn't know, yeah, didn't know what it was. I mean, I certainly had heard things about it, but, you know, it was at a time where I was depressed. It was a time where, you know, I was in a life, a marriage that I didn't want, and somebody came around and offered me an escape, you know, and I took it, and I took it. And as a result, like most people, one mistake leads to many more mistakes.
It's certainly not a performance enhancer.
That's beyond a statement. I mean, it is a drug that destroys lives, that starts by destroying you, and it is an impossibility that it adds to anything you do on a performance level whatsoever. You take a little bit of it and you're up for days, and your heart doesn't stop, and it's beating 160 beats a minute. You have a hard time doing anything on it, let alone calming down and hitting a second serve.
Did you find yourself crying?
All the time.
Not knowing why?
All the time. I found myself not engaged, disconnected, you know, just not maybe able to make sense of a whole lot. And as a result, that affects your energy, it affects your desire. I mean, I pulled out of everything during that time of my life. I didn't compete hardly at all that year.
You admit you tanked matches. You admit you tanked the 1996 Australian Open semi, I think it was, against Michael Chang. You said you did it more than once. How do you justify that?
I don't. You know, I mean, here's a person that just didn't want to be out there. When you literally say to yourself, I don't want to win today, and it's more hideous than just going out there and letting the world know I don't care. I mean, when you actually go the extra mile to make it look like you care about this, but you know deep down the worst thing to happen today is for me to win and for me to have to come back tomorrow. I wanted no part of it, and you go through this fight with yourself. That's what tennis is. I think that's what makes the sport pretty darn special.